Hello, I'm James Chapman,
And I'm Mackenzie Latimer.
and this is our final Python implementation of the Settlers of Cattan. This is our final project we've been working on in CS 301. So to continue on, this is our main menu screen. You can either press 1 to start game or press 2 for instructions. So continuing on to our instruction screen, we can see we have our gameplay component interaction chart. This basically it characterizes moving throughout the different aspects of the game. And so once you've understood how the game plays, you can press 1 to start.
And to start the game, you, of course, press the button, Start Game. And then once you do that, it's player one's turn. And in a real game, you would start off with 0 resources, but we've added some so we can win a little bit faster than a normal game. We've also added 5 victory points to start out with. And so to begin, each player places 2 settlements and 2 roads, like so.
And as you also see, while I'm placing these settlements and roads, as you also see on our board, that we have our hexagonal shape, and that each of these spots has a token value that's assigned to it, and it's randomly generated every time you start the game. So that was one of our test cases to make sure that every time we started the game, we had the right number and the right color of hexagonal pieces. Each of these colors represents a different aspect. So we have our hills, we have our forest, we have our pasture, we have our fields, we have our mountains, and then we have our desert. So now it's player 2's turn. So to place a settlement, you just left click on one of these build spots, which is characterized by these circles. So let's build one here. And then to build a road, you right click where you've built the build spot and push the arrow key in the direction you want to build the road. So here I'm going to press right click and then north, and I build a road. So now it's player 3. And finally player 4. And of course I'm not doing this with any sort of strategy. I'm sure those who are familiar with Settlers of Catan, as I am not, know this is probably a bad strategy to put things by the desert. So we see our first die roll here is an 8. That means anybody who has a resource by an 8. So player 4 here, once we get to his turn, we'll see that he has gained resources due to his being, actually he's gained 2 times the resources. So this is a pasture, so he'll gain twice the amount because he is adjacent to that. So player 1's turn now. So I'm going to build a settlement here. As you can see, I'm going to have 3 settlements, 2 roads, 5 brick, 10 ore, 7 wool, 5 wood, 7 grain, and 8 victory points. And as you see, if I right click and push C, because I have the right number, because I have enough resources, I can go ahead and build a city right here. Therefore, decreasing the amount of resources, but increasing my victory points to 9.
So to end your turn, you of course click the end turn button, and then it goes to the next player. Now player 2 can do all the same things, such as build a settlement and build an extra road. And so going on to player 3, he can do the exact same thing, building a settlement and a road as well. Player 4,
So what happens with player 4 is you see I rolled a 7, which everyone's waiting on. So the way we implemented the robber class in our game, or the robber piece, is rather than, I'm not very familiar with the game, but
rather than placing the robber on a tile and stealing all the resources from that, we are now, if you roll a 7, you can steal another player's settlement.
So I'm player 4, and I say, I want this nicely placed settlement from player 1. So now I can click there, and now I own his settlement. And so then, because I'm doing pretty well as player 4, I'm going to go ahead and build a city there, and go ahead and build one more settlement up here. So now I have 10 victory points. Therefore, as soon as I end my turn, we get the game over screen, and player 4 has won. So as you can see, going through our test cases with this game, we checked to make sure we had a random build board every time, which we did. We checked to make sure that you could not build a resource if you could not build a settlement or city if you were out of the correct resources, which it did. As you see right here with our game over screen, we checked to see that having 10 victory points did in fact result in the game over screen, which it did. And finally, we checked to see that if you rolled a 7, you could steal another player's settlement, which you could. So this wraps up our Settlers of Catan game. As you noticed, we did exclude some of the more difficult matters to include in the game, such as the development cards, because it really took a level a little higher than our introductory programming class in order to implement. But it would be something very interesting to include as we grow further in our programming careers. Thank you, and have a great day.